Blessings, Soul Family. This is Jules, and this is Evolution Pathway to Infinite Possibilities. And, I was just kind of reflecting with a few of the Soul Family right before we started recording, and this place of transparency and vulnerability, and just being in tune to kind of what is going on within our own system, our bodies, that kind of vibrational impulse that moves through us, and how we can really bring that to the next level and make that truly part of our lives. And in that transparency, when I was coming to record, there was really nothing coming in of what was going to record on. But just as I started recording in that transparency space, I saw an image of what I would call the divine design. And that as we kind of move into that place of full transparency and we truly enter our hearts and attune to that unique divine signature within us, that our unique signature is a part of that divine design. And that is our responsibility to truly show up in that authentic space and connect to that frequency. And by doing that, our unique signature is part of that design. But in that, they all interconnect to others that are also holding that frequency, creating a pathway or a pattern for those that are maybe struggling in the world right now to connect to. And that's what I call being a way shower or a change maker, is that it all starts with our hearts, and it all starts about really tuning in to, why am I choosing this, or why am I saying yes to this experience, or why am I saying yes to a specific story or something that's being shown in my reality, and do I need to continue to say yes to that space, or am I here to actually create a new earth reality, or a new reality that isn't being shown now? And I think that within that transparency piece, tuning into that frequency within us and connecting to the divine design from that frequency is the pathway that we'll take today in our conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a quick break so that we can come back and just sit in the energy and really see what the divine wants to bring in as we create this pathway. But before we do, I want to invite you to go to activateevolution.com and experience all the different pathways we have there for you to be a part of. We'll be right back. And we're back. This is Jules, and this is Evolution Pathway to Infinite Possibilities. And today we are talking about the pathway to fully moving into that place of transparency, connecting to the divine frequency within our hearts, and connecting to the divine design. And what that really means when we're creating new realities. I think that I've spoken a few times in the past episodes, and definitely go back and listen to some of our past episodes about what it truly means to create a reality from that space. And so often it can be so easy, especially in this time that we are in now, to kind of connect to those stories or conspiracies, or being told what to do, whatever it is that we're kind of wrapped up in. And if you're not wrapped up in a story, I just want to celebrate you in that space. And if you are, I think it's just taking a moment right now to decide if that story is working for you. And one of the things that I've noticed for myself is, I don't have to go looking for information in order to be shown what it is that I need to be seen. So if you're one that likes to scroll through Facebook or watch the news, or kind of get the last media story in order to kind of know what's happening in the world, I want to just invite you into a space that we don't have to go looking to know what's happening in the world if we are truly in that space of transparency and tuning into the frequency within our hearts, that we're actually here to create a reality. And when we're constantly searching in media or outside of ourselves for the truth of where what we're supposed to be experiencing or what others are experiencing, and they're speaking out on their story about their experience, there's nothing wrong with that if it's kind of coming to you and all of a sudden you're seeing it within your reality that you've created. But unless it's coming in for you to see, I just invite you to see what it feels like in these next few weeks to kind of turn off the media. Only look at the post in Facebook if you want to scroll through Facebook that are uplifting or cheerful, and to kind of disconnect from all of the chaos that's happening in the world and see what it feels like to only have to be in attunement to that place within your heart. And when things do come into our scope of reality, what it the difference is and what it feels like to look at that from a space of like, oh, the divine just showed me something. I'm here to shift this into a higher frequency within my own reality. How am I going to do that? And that we enter our hearts, we let the divine flow through us. And as all we have to do is touch that frequency to what it is that we are seeing and decide, is this true for me? Is this a reality I want to agree with? And if the answer is no, then how within myself can I create a reality that's just above that? Or of course, we could go much more above that in this little space that the divine just showed me something here. And what I love to do is to go into that place of bringing things into harmony, because just because somebody else is saying something is true does not mean that it's true. And I find that truth definitely changes depending on what frequency that we are in, because if we are meeting what it is that the divine is showing us in the frequency that it's in, we will see the truth in that frequency. But if we stay in the frequency of our hearts and we raise above it, what then happens is that it's out of attunement, and that's why we feel it when it comes in. It doesn't feel right. So in that space we get to invite whatever it is that the divine just showed us into the frequency of our hearts and attune it. And we do that by not resisting it, by not saying something is true or not true, and we neutralize it in that we don't have to create an outcome or have something that is showing us the way, you could say, that place of knowing why. Because when we create story around something that we are shown, is all we're doing is we're adding a frequency to what it is that's being shown. And so if we need to create a story, let's at least create a story that is going into that way shower or the new earth reality. So one way of saying this is I was talking to a friend, and she was talking about this experience of having a mosquito land on her, and that instead of immediately slapping it, she decided to kind of move into this frequency of like, what is it that the mosquito is actually here to do? Because the mosquito is also part of the divine design. And in that, she came up with this story that the mosquito was here to transmit. Like kind of like a bloodline, and that when it taps into our blood, it's spreading the bloodline in what we would call a new earth frequency. So she created a higher frequency story than slapping the mosquito and having it be this kind of annoyance in her experience. And all of a sudden she changed Her experience with the mosquito brought it into a higher frequency and created a whole nother story or reality around it. That's what we have the ability to do in anything that we're doing. And if we have to create a story in order to move it into a higher frequency, I invite you to do that. So, just like looking in your life right now about where maybe you're creating a story that's in a lower frequency, or connecting to a story that somebody else has already told, and how we can move that up into what I call the new paradigm, to where that same exact experience is telling a different story, and that the story is more expansive. It's more in the space of love, and it's bringing us into a frequency where we can truly just be in that beautiful frequency that we're here to be. And kind of moving that back into transparency is being willing to say, you know I know that this story doesn't resonate with my heart, but I also know in this moment I don't know what how to make this turn into something that does feel right. And that's okay. That's just being vulnerable in the space, and just admitting that, yes, this doesn't feel good, but I don't know how to transmit this frequency right now into something that does. Because in that moment, we invite the divine to come in and support us in that space. And I had a podcast on CCS, that's Cosmic Consciousness, a while ago, and we called it God, I Could Use a Little Help Here. And it's in those moments when we are just so in the story, or just really doesn't feel good, that we can call on divine help to come in, so to support us. That is also being super authentic and transparent, is that I don't always know what it is that I'm supposed to do. And I don't always know the way. And one of the things I love about that is that when we call in that divine frequency to come in and support us, what we find is that if we really get quiet for a long enough period of time, and when we ask the divine to come in and to support us and give us help, what we find is that we do know the way. And one of my favorite I ams is I am the way, because the divine is in my heart. And if I am consistently attuning to that frequency within me, it will always show me the way. What doesn't always happen is that I'm shown the way right in that very moment. And there are times that I have to be silent and kind of be in that abstract frequency for a long enough period of time that I am shown the way, but we always are. And it's always from that place in our hearts. And there's no reason that we have to keep going out there to search for the answer or the why, or what is the story behind this. In my last episode, it was called the COVID vaccine, Good or Evil. And in that episode, I talked about how when we are sometimes picking up on a frequency that feels out of attunement to that divine frequency within us, it's very natural to want to create a story around it, so that we know why this negative frequency is coming in. What would it be like if we had kind of a lower frequency come into our field of reality, and as all we did is attune it to the divine frequency without having to create a story? And really identifying within ourselves when we are trying to create a story to identify what this negative frequency is, that we are actually creating a reality around that frequency. Because the truth is, a frequency is just a frequency. A frequency becomes a reality when we start to tell a story about it. And I think if we all can just take a moment, or just maybe tune in on our awareness as we kind of go throughout our day, how many times we kind of pick up on maybe a lower frequency, and instead of just neutralizing it or allowing the divine to come in and bring it into attunement of our hearts. And if we're way showers, that's what we're here to do, is but we're creating a story instead. And then all of a sudden that we've created this story that is attaching to a reality either within us or out in the world, and we're just contributing to the chaos that we are all kind of at least in witness of. Whether or not we are truly in the chaos or not, I think we all are aware that there's a lot of chaos in the world, and that we here as way showers and light givers, it is up to us to bring that chaotic energy into the attunement of our hearts. And it all starts by just being aware that we're picking up on an energy that's not in attunement, sitting with our hearts for a long enough period of time, and then creating, if we need to have a story around it, at least taking the mosquito into being something that is spreading love and joy in a higher vibration versus being an annoyance or chaos. So, in that, I feel as though this would be a really beautiful time to do an activation. And the activation that I want to do today is going to be about creating a field of resonance within our hearts and expanding that into the divine design, so that when we're moving through our day, that we are consistently seeing the brilliance within this design, so that we are feeling really uplifted, inspired, and just in that space of just that childlike curiosity of what our unique expression in the world and how it is connected to this design, so that we are always in the lookout for the highest frequency available as we're moving through our days. So let's all just take a moment and connect to our hearts. If you'd like to, I invite you to place your hands on your hearts. And if you're driving, please keep your hands on the wheel and just really paying attention. So it's just all bring a beautiful breath right to the heart. So as you're breathing in, just breathing light into the heart. And as you're breathing out, just allowing this light to expand, just creating more space, releasing any density, and then breathing in the beautiful light, allowing it to fill the heart, and then expanding. And as you're moving into the space of expansion, just feeling what it feels like to be in the space as this light expands. It's not identifying within the light, but becoming the light. And again, breathing in, filling the heart with light, and then allowing it to expand. And within this expansion, becoming these beautiful particles of light. And these beautiful particles of light hold the divine frequency of your unique expression as they begin to dance and play with each other. So they're just waiting to become a reality or a frequency that will one day be a reality in form of this unique divine expression that you are here to bring into the world. And this unique divine expression is connected to the divine design, the divine matrix. It's this beautiful grid work that is all interconnected. And in this perfection of these connections is the reflection of this unique expression within you. And that between what is you feel in your heart and the connection to this beautiful divine design, an energy pattern or an attunement. It's a clarity. It's that place of a deep knowing within yourself of what your yeses are. And they're so clear because those yeses come from the empowerment of saying yes to the heart. It's like that yes is the most empowering feeling. Just feeling what that feels like. That space of when we say yes and when we take inspired action from this place, that we are truly unstoppable and that we are here in connection to the divine design. And within that, our life has purpose. It matters, but it matters from a place that isn't looking for outcome or evidence. It matters because we are in full creation of our unique signature that we are here to express in this lifetime. Just feeling that as it radiates through your body, as it uplifts, expands, and raises the frequency of every cell and molecule within you, as they all become attuned to this beautiful frequency in your heart. And just taking in another deep breath through the heart and allowing the light to expand that's holding particles of possibility in your unique divine expression, and allowing them to continue to expand, creating a field of resonance around you that holds you, supports you, and guides you as you just relax into knowing that in this space you are unstoppable and you cannot fail. You are one with the divine and you matter in the world. Celebrating this beautiful expression as you, in your transparency and in that authentic place of just being who you are here to be, and that every yes, every thought, and every decision, and every reality that is created is from this space. And having the awareness of where when we are connecting to a frequency or agreeing to reality that is not serving us, and in that moment creating a choice to move back into the space and be the way showers and the light workers we are here to be. And taking one more deep breath, allowing your whole body to fill with this beautiful light of your unique expression of the divine. And have it just bring a smile to your face, knowing that you are here to play in this energy. And then we will open our eyes and just say, thank you, I love you, it is done, and it is done. And in this moment, it's just connecting to that space and asking your heart, what is my next inspired action? And is there somewhere in my life that needs to be attuned? And in that space, how transparent and authentic can I be? And what responsibility do I need to take to bring this back into alignment? Because in that space, we are creating a choice to move back into attunement. And that is the most empowering choice that we can make. So it's not about somebody taking away our rights. It's not about people telling us what to do or agreeing to the stories out there. It's about that responsibility that we all hold to attune our reality to the frequency within our hearts. And that is the most empowering choice that we will ever have. And nobody can take that away from us. So that's what I invite you all to play in these next couple of weeks. I hope that this has brought you to a place of feeling empowered and really asking yourself, what empowered choice do I need to make in my life right now to bring my life back into the attunement of the unique signature of the divine frequency within me? So if you are feeling called and you want to play more in the energy of our community, please visit activateevolution.com. And until we meet again, bring your heart, your transparency, and allow the divine frequency of your unique signature to spread into the world and take you on the pathway to infinite possibilities. So much love. Namaste.